Well, welcome back once again. Welcome back once again to Kristianstad. You're looking at our pole sitter, which is, our front row starter in the off-pole position, Daniel Ticktum. Daniel Ticktum, who is an English lad, but driving for a Swedish team, Zanardi Straka Racing, on that Zanardi Perilla. Leonardo Lorandi is on pole position. There is Logan Sargent's machine, the driver from Florida, the state of Florida. There's Lorenzo Travisanuto driving for PCR, as you can very clearly see on the back of his race suit. And Leonardo Lorandi and Daniel Ticktum will be the front row. Lorenzo Travisanuto is on the inside of row 2 alongside the Scot Ross Martin. Christian Lundgaard of Denmark and Logan Sargent of the United States are row 3. Alexander Vartanyan of Russia is on row 4 with Max Futrell of Great Britain. And there we're looking at Daniel Ticktum's Zanardi Straka Perilla with the Vega tyres. In the KFJunior class, they're all mounted on Vegas as Max Futrell just walks through. Promise you that's Max Futrell and not Daniel Ticktum. Max Futrell lines up with Alex Vartanyan on row 4. And Juan Manuel Correa of United States of America is on row 5 with Artem Petrov of Russia. Well, they are the top 10. David Beckman and Devlin DeFrancesco are on row 6. David Beckman of Germany, Devlin DeFrancesco of the United States. And some sad news to bring you. The lady from Poland, Julia Pankiewicz, I am told will not start. Julia Pankiewicz should be starting on the inside of row 7, will be a non-starter. On row 7 we shall have a Swedish driver, Noah Millell. Row 8, Bard Verhurst of Netherlands and Jonas Nielsen of Denmark. Row 9, Rokas Baciuska of Lithuania. And Julia's running, we're told. Julia Pankiewicz is running to rejoin. Hey, well done. We don't want to see anybody fail to take their place in a final. And we certainly don't want to have the lady who's gone really, really well. Julia Pankiewicz in cart 249 is taking her place on row 7. Rokas Baciuska and Kasper Rose Andersen, row 9. Jan Krenisch and Yuri Vips complete the top 10. The top 20 on row 10. Well, Julia Pankiewicz, not the only lady in the race. We do have other ladies, so it's always good to get a full complement of the girls. We're looking now at Lorenzo Travisanuto. Very easy to pick out on a sunny day because of that predominantly yellow livery, both on the PCR chassis and on Lorenzo's race suit. This race is scheduled away at 15:10 local time. It's now 15:06 and a half, so 3.5 minutes should see us away. Well, we're slightly obscured in the view there of the Russian driver, Alexander Vartanyan, in cart 211. 239 we get a very clear view of. That's Artem Petrov, another Russian driver, just in his concentrative mode. Artem Petrov drives a DR chassis. Danilo Rossi is here. DR chassis powered by a TM motor in cart 239. There's the handshake. Max Futrell turning his back to identify us. That's, I think, Emil. No, it isn't. It's one of the other Ricky Flynn Motorsport guys. Well, the grid girls doing their jobs. Leonardo Lorandi in cart 206. His job will be to get away from the start of this race in pole position, having his last little bit of fluid intake. And now, down to the drivers, down to good fortune, down to good racing. Well, those of you that are joining us newly, you're looking at cart 223. Devlin DeFrancesco drives for Morsicani Racing, which is an Italian racing team, but Devlin is from the United States of America, drives on an American license, although originally the family from Canada. Devlin DeFrancesco went well in the early 2 rounds, didn't go so well this time, but came strong later in the event rather than earlier in the event. Race director Nigel Edwards in the middle of your screen, just giving an indication of what he's looking for. I think it's saying one formation lap, and I want you to keep the respect of the 2 corridors as you go round and make the start. Well, the last of the grid girls doing a good job to hold her hat on. It wanted to fly away. So, the tension mounts. This is the KFJunior final. NM Ahmed has 47 championship points. Devlin De Francesco has 46 championship points. Anton Hager has 40 but has not made the final. Logan Sargent has 38 and he starts on the 3rd row. It's a very, very open championship. Daniel Ticktum is on the front row and has 37 championship points. Mick Junior is 6th in the championship standings, but he's got to start way back on row 12. We'll keep you posted, not only on the race positions, but how it affects the championship. It will be a 21-lap race for the juniors this final. 21 laps give us a race distance of 25.8 kilometres, and Leonardo Lorandi is slowly away for the formation lap, but I don't think there's anything wrong. Confirmation of Leonardo Lorandi starting on pole position with Daniel Ticktum joining him on the front row. Zanardi Straka Racing is a Swedish team. Devlin De Francesco on row 12 is, in place 12 on row 6 is 1 championship point behind the leader NM Ahmed, who is in P25, and that's a long way back on row 13. So plenty of championship points available here. Your potential winners: Ahmed 47, De Francesco 46, Sargent 38, Ticktum 37. Mick Junior potentially getting an alternative shot at it with 27 points, but that would need a lot of disasters by other people, but mathematically possible. So the second of our formation laps. Those of you viewing on TV, you see the nice open nature of this circuit at Kristianstad. You see how people are standing behind those WSK promotional banners. Get a good view of the track from there. And then up towards the right-hand banking, I think that's perhaps one of the best views of the whole circuit. You see all of this infield technical complex. On the other side of the circuit, on the exit from turn 1, a really big crowd up on the bank up there as well. Seeing those in some of our pictures. So a good crowd here at Kristianstad. Remember, we're celebrating the 400th anniversary of the town of Kristianstad, and this is one of the official celebrations, the CIK FIA European Karting Championship. We're going to have another European champion this afternoon. We're going to have him or her, don't think any of the ladies are in the running, so let's say him, crowned in just about half an hour's time. Leonardo Lorandi getting a quick start. Have we started officially? Yes, we have. And Leonardo Lorandi in kart 206 from Lorenzo Travisanuto. Did momentarily think that might have been an aborted start, but the 2 Italians 1-2. Kart 268 in 3rd place is Christian Lundgaard of Denmark, and those 3 have pulled away a little bit from the rest. Lorenzo Travisanuto finished very strongly in the pre-final, finished both of his heats yesterday very strongly. This time he's starting strongly. Lorandi holding this lead, but Travisanuto looking more strong. Well, I'm making a big mistake in saying that the champion will be decided this afternoon. I'm forgetting that this is round 3 of 4. We go to the PFI circuit in Great Britain, don't we? This is Lorenzo Travisanuto taking the lead at the end of the opening lap. So not a championship decider, but a championship determiner, if you will. Lorenzo Travisanuto holding the advantage. Oh, and that's a nice move by kart 268. Christian Lundgaard into second place, and Travisanuto goes very, very wide. And all of a sudden, Christian Lundgaard of Denmark has got a very, very clear lead. Leonardo Lorando, who had, oh, and contact there. Travisanuto giving a little bit of a touch on Vartanyan of Russia, who did extremely well to maintain contact and to retain control. And it's getting just a little bit hairy. Kart 218 in your sights there is Max Futrell. He's in the thick of it as well. Often mentioned that karting is an incidental contact sport. Sometimes the incidents are a little bit more fun. Daniel Ticktum looking round as if to say, what are you playing at? Keep clouting me. Let's chase Lorenzo Lorandi. So at the start of the race, really good start there by Lorandi. Ticktum finding it difficult to look for a way in, but eventually does so. He's running in third place in kart number 2. Well, he's driving the front of your race now at the screen, as you see. In second place overall now, Max Futrell looking behind him. And very, very wide sweep by Daniel Ticktum. Now, why did he do that? He's in effect brought Max Futrell through into second place. Excuse me, into third place. And a little bit untidy some of this racing, and a lot of looking behind, as you can see from our screens. Kart number 241, Juan Correa getting another place, as yes he does, goes up into fourth place now. And Juan Correa just acknowledging to Daniel Ticktum the move that he's made. Our race leader is Christian Lundgaard of Denmark in kart number 268. Leonardo Lorandi, getting muddled with Lorenzo Travisanuto and getting my tongue tied. Travisanuto has dropped down to sixth place, having been, well, bidding for an early lead and certainly running second. Look at the body lean there by Leonardo Lorandi, driving for the Baby Race team, the successful Baby Race team, and getting closer to Christian Lundgaard as he does so. Travisanuto there, getting a tiny little bit of incidental contact, and that was genuinely unavoidable on 269. Kart number 267, Bart Vercrost. And Travisanuto goes past Vercrost rather easily. Can he execute it on the turnout? Yes, he can. And Juan Correa now. Juan Manuel Correa is looking, and again, some of these guys saying, look, let's fight amongst ourselves. There's a couple of guys way, way out in front. Let's fetch them back, because there's a couple of seconds between the two top drivers and the third place driver, Juan Correa. Juan Manuel Correa, born in Ecuador, now racing out of the United States. Kart 268 in your sight there is Christian Lundgaard driving the Tony Kart Vortex. Christian Lundgaard driving for the Tony Kart Vortex team of himself and his father, so very much really, shall we say, an independent setup for the Lundgaard family. And how well they're doing, they're leading the KFJunior final. Lorandi still in second place. Kart number 241 is Correa. Vercrost going through in fourth. Losing a place there, Travisanuto. Julia Pankovic, who we haven't mentioned since we thought that she was not going to make a start on this race. Running in the top 10 in sixth place. She's gone past Daniel Ticktum. Hard to understand how Daniel Ticktum has dropped the places that he has. Very, very untypical of the Englishman driving for the Swedish team. 241 in your sights. Juan Manuel Correa of United States. You're looking at Lorenzo Travisanuto tracking Bart Vercrost. Vercrost in the black racing suit, Travisanuto in the predominantly amber or yellow racing suit. Just in front of them, Correa in the predominantly blue and white energy kart. Behind Correa, Vercrost is fourth, Travisanuto fifth, Julia Pankovic sixth, Daniel Ticktum seventh, Logan Sargent eighth. Mick Jr. is up into ninth place, and he started in 23rd place. So Mick Jr. gets into the top 10 from 23rd place. We're on lap 7 And is that a driving standards flag? No, it's a mechanical flag. Doesn't affect one of our front runners. Kart 268 in shot. Christian Lundgaard being pursued by Leonardo Lorandi. And Vercrost looks as if he's going past Correa, and Travis Anuto gives him a little, gives Correa a little tap. That driving standards flag was a mechanical flag, and it's for kart number 241. That's not one of a situation that we wanted to see, because Juan Manuel Correa, who's running in 4th place, 5th place, is being brought off the track. Juan Manuel Correa of the United States is being brought off the track on a mechanical defect, a technical flag. And Juan Manuel Correa has been up to 3rd place, currently at 4th place, been between 3rd, 4th and 5th. A front runner, Travis Anuto, has just gone past him, but it's, well, a real disaster, because Correa was completely unbeaten throughout the heats on Friday and Saturday. Had a little bit of a clout earlier on today in the pre-final, but he's being fetched off. Just want to double check that the number is the number as we see it. Do believe it's kart 241, mechanical flag. It is indeed confirmation that Juan Manuel Correa is being brought off the track on a technical flag, as is kart 223, Devlin De Francesco. So a potential champion and a potential race winner here are both being brought in on technical flags, both of them from the United States of America, and they're not going to be very happy with their experience here in Europe. Both of them being fetched out of the junior final because of a technical issue. We're looking now at kart 267, Bart Vercrost in 3rd place, being pursued by kart 206, Leonardo Lorandi. 268, your race leader Lundgaard. And our instant replay, Lorandi and Vercrost there trading their places. Well, 268, Christian Lundgaard has a gap of 0.6 seconds in his favour. And just trying to make sense of some of these moves. Can't understand, well, we don't know why a technical flag is issued. It might be for any reason. Juan Correa remains out there. That will elevate Julia Pankovic to 5th, and Mick Jr. to 6th, and Daniel Ticktum to 7th when he goes out. Devlin De Francesco has come in response to the technical flag. On screen now you can see Lorandi being passed by Travis Anuto, and Travis Anuto goes past fellow Italian Lorandi. And in the back of your screen you saw that disappointing view of drivers having to come off the circuit in response to a technical flag. Always a shame, but hey, there's reasons for it, and often the reasons are safety. Here's Lorenzo Travis Anuto finding a gap past Leonardo Lorandi, and the baby race driver is relegated into 4th place, having started on pole position. Vercrost now putting his attentions towards Lundgaard of Denmark. Vercrost challenging Lundgaard. Was close moments ago. It was a rear bumper situation for Juan Manuel Correa. He's back on track, but he's got a lot of work to do to try to get up the field from there. The rear bumper sorted in seconds, but of course loses the biggest part of a lap in coming off the circuit. So 268 versus 267, Lundgaard of Denmark, Vercrost of Netherlands. We're on lap 12 of 21. Lundgaard leading. Vercrost in 2nd place, but really close, 0.124 of a second at the end of the lap. He looks over his shoulder, his left shoulder does Christian Lundgaard. Christian, I'll tell you what you see. You see a very, very big picture of Bart Vercrost, because he's very close to you and looking to try to get past. But Lundgaard defends well, driving well, the Dane. Christian Lundgaard, kart 268, now on lap 22, on lap 12. Looks again over his shoulder. The battle for first and second and third is very tight. Travis Anuto very close to them. Well, Lundgaard, for the time being, has survived the worst of the pressure that was being applied by Vercrost, and Vercrost now has to turn part of his attention to the driver behind him, Travis Anuto. Mick Jr. and Leonardo Lorandi battling out fourth and fifth between them. Lorandi in kart 206, Mick Jr. in kart 212. This is lap 13. Christian Lundgaard continuing to hold a rather bigger advantage now. It was down to 0.12, it's now 0.2, so a full 0.2 of a second. And Travis Anuto, who I mentioned in commentary before, and Mick Jr. goes past Lorandi. Mick Jr. of Germany gets himself into fifth place. Gets himself into fourth place. Lundgaard 1, Vercrost and Travis Anuto 2 and 3. Mick Jr. now in fourth place, past fifth place, Leonardo Lorandi. There are the top five on screen. Well, Christian Lundgaard continues to lead. Look again at the passing of Leonardo Lorandi by Mick Jr. Lundgaard starts lap 15. That was the conclusion of lap 14. Our caption just momentarily late going over. This is lap 15, I promise you. And Christian Lundgaard holding an advantage over Bart Vercrost. But Bart Vercrost getting closer again now. This is what it was like 3 or 4 laps ago. Travis Anuto a little bit further detached. The drivers you saw in shot there, I think, were Max Futrell in 7th place, and possibly Daniel Tickton with him. But these are most certainly the 1, 2 and 3. Lundgaard 1, Vercrost 2, Travis Anuto 3, and Travis Anuto bids to go second, and he makes it stick. So Lorenzo Travis Anuto on lap 15 goes into second place, and now it's the Italian who's going to chase after the Danish driver. Christian Lundgaard has got a best lap of 53.60, but Travis Anuto has a 53.56. So Travis Anuto does appear to have a little bit more pace, but he's also got Bart Vercrost really knocking at the door, so to speak, and Mick Jr. now makes this a 4-timer at the front, because this is, and there is Mick Jr. bidding to go third, and does go third. Mick Jr. into third place in front of Bart Vercrost on lap 16. Lorenzo Travis Anuto in second place. Doesn't feel the presence of Bart Vercrost behind him now, but pretty quickly, oh, and Mick Jr. taking an extravagant line and throwing away the pass. He passed Bart Vercrost for third place, and in a very, very wide sweeping move has in effect invited Bart Vercrost to drive straight through and retake third place, and the Dutch lad has done precisely that. 0.4 of a second on the screen between Lundgaard of Denmark, a Scandinavian driver here in Scandinavia. Some of us that came to Kristianstad, Sweden, had flown into Copenhagen, Denmark. Let's have a look again. There's that big wide move of Mick Jr. And it was just so big that it was almost impossible for Bart Vercrost not to drive through. If we were to chat to Mick now, I think we would be saying, what were you thinking? And I think he would be saying, I don't know what I was thinking. Similar move now, but of course it's the world of difference when you're trying to go past somebody rather than when you're just trying to maintain a situation. Well, Travis Anuto now applying massive pressure on Lundgaard. Lundgaard coming under the greatest pressure that he's been having during the whole of the race. Travis Anuto on lap 18 looking to apply that pressure. Having said that, Lundgaard for about the 5th or 6th time has resisted these overtures. Mick Junior now looking really, really seriously hard for a way through Bart Verkrost. 2-1-2, Mick Junior from Germany. 2-6-7, Bart Verkrost from the Netherlands. Fascinating race, fascinating scrap, and Mick Junior having a look for a route through, but there wasn't a route through there. Still just as tight in first and second, so two great races for first and second, and for third and fourth. Well, Travis Anuto is now actually being tracked a little more closely by Bart Verkrost. Bart Verkrost not in a position to try a passing move, but certainly Mick Junior and Bart Verkrost in fourth and third, and Mick Junior trying to go through, and does go through in third place. So Mick Junior is now third, Bart Verkrost is fourth, and Leonardo Lorandi, I think it is, in fifth place. Let me double check that off the top of the screen. I'm fairly sure that was the pole sitter, Leonardo Lorandi, we saw. So does Travis Anuto find a way past Lundgaard? He looks over his shoulder. Here's the move by which Mick Junior went up from fourth to third. Bart Verkrost being forced wide, but Lundgaard getting himself a little bit quicker, as indeed is Travis Anuto. Lassen of Denmark setting a fastest lap at 53.0. Kart number 200, Julius Lassen. Well, Mick Junior has got about 5 kart lengths, no, less than that, 4 kart lengths to close up to the third place Travis Anuto. Travis Anuto has got about 2 kart lengths to find at the moment on Christian Lundgaard. I imagine it would be a relatively popular victory for the Dane over the Italian here in Sweden. If that doesn't make nonsense, you understand what I'm saying. We're here in Scandinavia, where there's a close affinity between the Scandinavian nations. Oh, and is this the opportunity for Travis Anuto? Yes, it is. And Travis Anuto takes the lead and pretty much forces Christian Lundgaard onto the grass. Now, will the stewards, will the race officials see it that way? Will they see that Christian Lundgaard has taken an unfair advantage, or will they see that as having no chance otherwise? Mick Junior gets a very, very strong, passing manoeuvre on first of all Lundgaard, and then on Travis Anuto to go through into the lead. And this is getting good viewing, but a little bit untidy. And so, coming on to the final lap, 20 of 21, Travis Anuto, Lundgaard, Verkrost, Mick Junior. Futrell 5th, Ticktum 6th, Lorandi 7th, Pankiewicz 8th, Lassen 9, Motono in the top 10. And that's how it finishes. Travis Anuto wins it from Lundgaard and Verkrost. Well, I am completely neutral as I sit here, and I'm certainly not an official, but I just have the view that there's 1 or 2 parts of that race are going to be looked at by officials. The checkered flag comes out before the last lap. I thought that I hadn't missed the checkered flag, but the checkered flag has been brought out a lap early. So a little bit of confusion at the end of that one. My screen showing 21 laps of 21. The official timekeeper, Pierrick Bottolier, possibly seeing it differently. As soon as we can clear any confusion, we shall do so. Well, I have to say on my own behalf, ladies and gentlemen, I did find that a very, very interesting race to watch. I found it difficult to call, and at times there was 1 or 2 things that made us wonder if we were seeing what we thought we were seeing. But our caption showing a race victory for Lorenzo Travis Anuto over Christian Lundgaard in 2nd place, Bert Verkrost 3rd, Mick Junior 4th, and Max Futrell in 5th place. Juan Correa, who was brought off the track in a front-running position, eventually finishing in 18th place. Well, let's have a look at our highlights package when they come up and see if we can make some sense of it. Very, very unlucky Devlin De Francesco coming in when he was well placed. This is the start. Over to the right is Daniel Tickton. To the left, Leonardo Lorandi. And there's quite a few incidents to look at here. This is Travis Anuto taking the lead from Lorandi early on. That is cart number 268, Christian Lundgaard, going in first into second place and now into the lead. Lundgaard in the lead at this early stage. Lorandi still second. Oh, and a little bit of contact there, and maybe more than a little bit of contact. But hey, what do we say? Artem Vartanyan of Russia, a little bit of an innocent victim there was my reading. But I'm not an official, and what do I know about karting? Well, I do know contact when I see it, and I know when I'm not over pleased to see it. Travis Anuto now going past cart number 267 at that point, which is Bart Verkrost. 268, Christian Lundgaard coming round to get into a lead, which he used to hold for a long time, and this is the lead over Lorandi. So at this point on our highlights package, Lorandi tracking Lundgaard. Behind them, that is cart 267, which is Bart Verkrost. And Juan Manuel Correa is being passed at this point by Lorenzo Travis Anuto, but that was before he was fetched off the circuit on the technical flag. Bart Verkrost being pushed there a little bit, I mean pushed in the metaphorical sense. This is Travis Anuto and Lorandi having their battle, or one of several, and on this occasion Travis Anuto getting through. Lorandi looks over his right shoulder. That was at about the half race distance, 2/3 race distance. There's Mick Junior going past Lorandi late in the race. This is about 3/4 race distance. Travis Anuto going past Verkrost again. Lundberg still continuing to hold the lead. Mick Junior having another piece of the passing action. Travis Anuto, gosh, well, we're looking at our highlights package, and it was, shall we say, a very spirited drive by several of the racers out there. There's another piece of spirited racing. Mick Junior gets himself in front of Bart Verkrost. Travis Anuto trying to go underneath Christian Lundgaard, and Lundgaard, as a result of that, is off the tarmac and onto the grass and back onto the tarmac. It remains to be seen whether that's permitted to stay. Mick Junior going wide on the right. And this is late in the race when it got really untidy, more contact, and a big loss there, I think. Was that Lundgaard again taking a tap, going off the circuit? And Mick Junior himself going off the circuit and putting his hands up and making some very extravagant gestures. Well, I don't know, what do we say? Sometimes if you live by the sword, you sometimes die by the sword. But it was a very interesting race to watch. It was a little bit untidy to watch the highlights. But hey, these are juniors, and they've provided us some good entertainment. There is the podium. The action moves to the podium in a short while. So we are ready to go ahead now with our podium ceremony for the final of the KFJunior class. We call to the podium in third place from the Netherlands, Bart Verkroost. Well done, Bart. In second place from Denmark, Kristian Lundgaard. Yeah, cheers for Kristian, a very good drive. And our winner from Italy, Lorenzo Travisanuto. Well, Lorenzo Travisanuto drives for Scuderia PCR, and we have a winning team representative coming forward from Scuderia PCR. It's Peppo Morcia. Well, there was a lot of action in the race, but eventually won by Lorenzo Travisanuto. And to acknowledge Lorenzo's victory, we shall play the national anthem of Italy. Well, the Italian national anthem acknowledging the victory of Lorenzo Travisanuto, and thank you for your applause, ladies and gentlemen. We ask the hostesses now to pass the trophies to the celebrities to make the presentation. Mr. Stefan Andersson, the chairman of the Swedish Kart Commission, will present the third place trophy to Bart Verkroost. Stefan Andersson with the handshake, Bart Verkroost, the Dutchman, handshakes all round. The second place trophy will be presented by Mr. Kai Oberheide, the Executive Secretary of CIK FIA, and of course that goes to Kristian Lundgaard. Kristian Lundgaard, long-time leader. But we ask the Vice President of the CIK FIA, Mr. Kees van der Grint, to present the trophy to our winner, the winner being Lorenzo Travisanuto. And now Mr. Jesper Harkensen, the organizer here at Kristianstad Karting. We ask Jesper to present the winning team representative trophy to Peppo Morcia of Scuderia PCR. Any PCR fans down there? Of course there are. Well done, guys. Well, the turn of the ladies to present the flowers. Well, if there's any photos to be taken, it's now that fizzy water time, that champagne moment. Here we go. And maybe some music with it. Okay, let's have with our race winner Lorenzo Travisanuto. I have to come to the top with you. If your Scuderia man wants to stay, that's okay. If you want to come back, Peppo, it's not a problem. First of all, it was a very, very eventful race. Did you believe always?
So I thought I would have a good start, and I did. Then in the second lap, I found some grass, some dirt inside the track, and so I lost many positions. And then I didn't lose my concentration because I know it's a 21 laps race, so it's a very long race, and I know we had a very fast pace. So I knew I could win.
And do you feel just as confident to go to Britain next time?
Well, now we're back in the championship. We'll try to earn some points even there.
Okay, thank you for talking with me. The was breaking up a little bit. Thank you for they tell me I must be on the top step to do the interview, but with the